game that we got in our press package recently, Jesse, that I thought, boy, does this feel like a Jesse game. I haven't requested the code for it yet, but I'll have to.
What was it?
I don't know, some RPG crap.
RPG crap.
I'll have to look at my mail.
We're ready.
Oh, are we? Oh, are we now?
Ready?
Unless you want to just keep vamping for 12 minutes like we did last week after we started streaming.
No, we can start this. Let's go, shall we?
Of course, that was because just as I hit the record button, they announced Joker.
Oh, gotcha.
So then Marty's like, wait. We need to talk about this.
Okay. All right, let's hit that button.
The button's been hit.
Oh, good. Gary, you ready?
Yep, let's do this. Welcome to Nintendo Dance episode 209, recorded on December 13th, 2018. On tonight's episode, we discuss player versus player in Pokemon, some Switch sales information, and did Jesse actually play Smash? Well, hold on to your seats. There's only one wait. Blah, blah, blah. It was going well as well.
It really was. Yeah, really.
Let's start again. Welcome to Nintendo Dance episode 209, recorded on December 13th, 2018. On tonight's episode, we discuss player versus player in Pokemon, some Switch sale information, and did Jesse actually play Smash? Well, hold on to your seats. There's only one way to find out. Cue the music, boys.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Nintendo Dance Podcast. Welcome, welcome. My name is Justin Masson, and today joining me are two of the coolest guys around on the internet. Of course, I talk about one, Mr. Jesse Waldack, the beard of the South, the man with the barbecue sauce stained t-shirt. Jesse, king of VG Tribune, and our soundboard. What is going on, sir? How are you today?
I am good. I tried doing a soundboard thing, but I forgot while the music is playing at minus 15 decibels to be in the background. Everything else is at minus 15 decibels, and you probably didn't hear that.
I actually did hear something. I thought there was someone else in the room with you, but apparently not. So
it was supposed to be the "I love it" thing soundbite from my kid.
There you go. Fantastic. Well, I love you, and I love you being here, sir. By the way, I think you're sporting is that a Zelda shirt I saw a couple moments ago, or
it's
Breath of the
not.
Wild shirt?
It's actually from a website called Code. It used to be called Code Fights. It's now called Code Signal. It's a website where programmers, they have like daily challenges. Program this and try to in as fewest characters as possible.
Oh, and you want a shirt from that?
Kind of, yeah. As you do with activities in the site, you earn points, and for like 500,000 coins, I was able to redeem it for the shirt. But I think they stopped that giveaway about a year ago, so I was one of the last ones to get a shirt.
Oh, okay. Well, fantastic. Well, it's very nice. Either which way, it's great to see you again. I haven't been here for 4 weeks, but it's great to see your face.
I've been here every week. I don't know what you're.
I know you have. You are the rock that keeps this thing going. But me, I am just a slacker. Speaking of a man who slacks off regularly, slacks off regularly, but is here fresh for us at 4 a.m. Mr. Gary Gray, the flat cap gamer himself. Sir, how are you going?
You need to be careful. We're a family show, Justin.
That's why I had to enunciate that. I was slack.
A few weeks ago, we did get the yellow dollar sign for about an hour, and then it finally turned green. I don't know what was.
Did we have the Mega Dads on during that time and I wasn't here? Is that what happened?
It was just the normal three of us. I'm not sure what happened, but it eventually did turn green.
Sure.
Before I published it.
That. There we go. Gary, what's going on with you, sir?
I'm playing with coffee power again this morning with a lovely big vat of black coffee, and everything's pretty much fine. I've been playing some games this week, which you guys might not believe. I've actually been playing games, so I'll be able to talk games on a gaming podcast. But Justin, it's been a long time, so how have you been?
It has been. It's been about 4 weeks. I feel like I've fallen out of the woods of a lack of podcasting. There's been a lot of things that I've been playing, but I think you guys have always covered it or passed on it. So, but no, it's going all right. It's good to be back. I like other than it being 4 a.m. when we do this podcast, it's such a good time to just rejoin with friends and chat about things that we love. Now, I'd be remiss, Gary, if before we moved on to our next segment, if I didn't actually call out your wonderful shirt. You are wearing a Super Nintendo jumper as well. For those of you that are not watching the webcam version, fantastic. Is that a Primark special? Is that what that is?
It's a Primark special. Whole 12 pound.
A whole 12 pounds. I'm excited to announce today that this show is not sponsored by Primark.
Is Primark I've been really like a Walmart or something?
Yeah, pretty much. It's a clothing store that always has really good Nintendo stuff. Actually, I got some socks there recently, and I may or may not have been trying to shill some sponsorship deals with them for us to wear Nintendo stuff on the show, but they have never got back to us. Again, call us. But either which way, we got lots going on in the call me. We've got a lot going on in the world of Nintendo. We're going to jump right into this, shall we? Now, of course, before we jump actually into the news, we do have to mention the news is brought to us by people. Now, Gary, it's been a while. It's been a long time getting from there to here. But Gary, remind me again, who is our who is this brought to us by?
Oh, it's brought to us by our lovely patrons over at patreon.com. Where, for as little as $1, you support the show and make it the most awesomest Nintendo show ever.
I do agree with that. Thank you. We are the most awesomest Nintendo show ever. I appreciate that. I also appreciate Mr. Chris Mears. Do you know why I appreciate Chris Mears, Gary?
Does he like barbecue sauce on ribs?
I don't know enough about him, but if I was to imagine Chris Mears, I think this person would enjoy barbecue sauce. I think a good like a beer with ribs and barbecue sauce. I think that would be what Chris Mears does. But you know what Chris Mears also does? Chris Mears, of course, sponsors the show and is not only just a sponsor, is an executive Patreon producer with Nintendo Dad. So, Chris, thank you so much for your recent pledge to the show. We greatly appreciate it. You, sir, are absolutely fantastic. And so thank you very much. And, of course, thank you to the just shy of 100 people who support us on Patreon.com every single month. And, of course, if you want to do that, head over to Patreon.com/Nintendo Dads. For, as Gary said, as little as $1 a month, you can help change our world. All right, folks, enough shilling, enough promoting. Let's jump right into this, shall we? Now, of course, we're going to lead with some top stories. And here's the thing, folks. I sometimes hate it when Jesse's right. It hurts me in a part of my heart that I sometimes rarely have. But
I'm right all the time. What are you talking about?
I know, and that's why it hurts so often. For the last 2 years, Jesse, you have been on this Pokemon Go. I don't want to say obsession, but you've been dedicated, sir. Dedicated. And just as Pokemon Let's Go kind of started firing back up the last couple of months, I've jumped back into Pokemon Go. And I have been engaged with it. But this week, a huge change occurred, and that was PvP, players versus players launch on Pokemon Go. So, Jesse, I'm gonna back away from the mic, and the floor is yours, sir, to talk about PvP in Pokemon Go.
So trainer battles just launched yesterday, and normally when they introduce a new feature, they have it like level 40s only for like several hours.
It's an elite club.
And then they slow it down just so they don't just like bombard the servers, so it gives it a slow roll. But they actually spun this out really quick. Well, the raid chat that I was in, it was talking about it, and they were starting to do PvPs amongst themselves for those who were Ultra Friends or higher, because those you don't have to be local to battle. You can do it from the friends list. But if you're not an Ultra Friend or higher, you have to be face to face and scan a QR code to initiate the battle. Anyway,
now, for those of you that are kind of uninitiated, Ultra. What was it? Ultra Friend, you said?
Ultra Friend is the 3-star friend, and
the 3 hearts. 3 hearts out of 4 hearts, basically, has to be fully completed. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a best friend with anyone yet. I am 2 or 3 days away from my first one.
I'm going to tell you this. I have a couple best friends, and I did PvP yesterday. Now, because you were saying if you are not, you have to be local. I was actually able to battle a friend of mine yesterday in Massachusetts because we are best friends. And I had the PvP experience. Have you PvP'd? That sounds weird. Have you? That doesn't sound appropriate. This may be getting us a yellow dot. Have you had an opportunity to try it?
I've only done it once.
Okay.
I battled my son this afternoon and got my rear handed to me.
Yeah.
I think I just picked with the 3 recommendeds. Yeah. I think he actually handpicked the 3 he wanted, and I was at a type disadvantage because when it does the recommendations, it doesn't know what the other opponent has. Yeah. It's just basically throws up your 3 highest CP that qualify. Because the battles can split up into 3 different leagues. One has a CP cap of 1,500. Yep. The middle one has a 2,500 CP cap, and then the third one has no limit. For some reason, we were locked out of the no limit one, so I think we might have to be best friends for that. I'm not 100% sure. So we did the 2,500. Yeah, and he knocked all 3 of mine out, and he still had 2. One of them never even entered the field.
Right. Okay.
But
go ahead.
A bonus is, so about 1 in every 3 battles you'll get a reward. It's usually more Stardust, which you need Stardust to unlock a second charged move on your Pokemon to have more allow you to be more strategic in the battles. But it's also a chance to get a Sinnoh Stone, which I think I talked about in a previous episode.
Yeah, I do remember falling asleep during that, so yes, you did.
Yeah, so Sinnoh Stone is needed if you want to. Gen 4 has 23 evolutions based on previous generation Pokemon.
Okay.
2 of them are Eevees. Everyone else has 1. And I have a list that I maintain here, like a checklist, so I know what I've done and what I need.
Wow.
And so you're able to get Sinnoh Stones as a reward for battles from time to time. So I've already got and if you don't have any friends to actually battle, you can battle the team leaders, and that's what I've done most of the time. I've done like 15 or 20 of them. And
How do you do that? How do you do those?
When you go to your nearby button in the lower left corner,
yes,
you'll see the faces of the 3 leaders.
Okay, so you can tap that. Second. The nearby.
Yeah, on the lower right corner.
Oh, yeah, and then battle. Oh, I see.
So you're able to set up practices with them.
Okay, and do you get rewarded for that then as well?
I think once a day you'll get something. So yesterday I did get a Sinnoh Stone, and then today I got Stardust. So I've gotten 3 Sinnoh Stones just from this in 2 days, which is nice.
Nice. So Jesse, just for again, there's a lot of information here about it. A lot of fantastic stuff. I suspect there is probably going to be some video footage of a couple of these things potentially on our YouTube channel that people can reference soon or take a look at. Because again, you've done some fantastic stuff with Pokemon Let's Go recently, and the connection with Go. Is there going to be some content soon about that?
I think I can arrange something.
See how I just kind of walked you into that corner and was "Hey, Jesse."
You did. So
that was I can try to conversation.
I can try to record my screen and record my daughter's screen at the same time, battle each other. That you'll see the same battle from 2 different perspectives.
Yeah. I think that'd just be because I'm going to be honest with you. It's not as intuitive as you think, people. I will tell you that right now. And as I did mention, I did have an opportunity to play it. I do have a friend over in Massachusetts, Jameson, who we were at that level. And here's one of the things that I know. So you actually go into your character. So I went into his, and so the spot where you send gifts or send presents or trade, there's a spot that says battle. And so if you tap on battle, then it basically says they have to notify that individual. So there's a lot of ways that person still, even though you can do it virtually or from a distance, they still have to you have to know that they're active. Do you know what I mean? I have to know that they're currently in Pokemon Go or they're accessible to their phone to be able to battle me. So I had to send them a Facebook message.
The notification may be queued up, but if they're not there watching it, then you're just sitting there waiting for them to answer, and that'll never happen.
So I had to send them a message, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to try this thing?" And so we actually we had some difficulty connecting a couple times. It kicked us out, but then went into the battle, and then to your point, you win a match, you get your Stardust and then your badge. Or sorry, if you lose, you get Stardust and then a Stardust and a badge if you win. Overall, I thought it was a pretty good experience. You have this ability to put a shield up as well. I think it's adding more depth to Pokemon Go, and I was actually quite impressed with it as well. So it's a game that I have not been as deeply involved in it as you have been. I know that, Jesse, but it's a game that continually brings me back and plays it some more. And yeah, it's been fantastic. Now, Gary, you're not a Pokemon Go fan, are you? Or have we just like put you to sleep the last little bit?
I wasn't for the last 2 years, but since I've had the Pokeball Plus, I've actually been playing it quite a lot.
Okay.
So I've just got back into it. I'm around the early level 20s.
Yep.
So basically, there was only one Pokemon stop from where I live to work, which is a half an hour walk away.
Sure.
They added another, so there's two now. So it's enough. It's enough for me to actually be able to play the game without spending a fortune to buy Pokeballs.
Yeah. So I shouldn't mention that. And the road trip, the trip I took home from my daughter's school to home, I took a little roundabout way. There was like a 2-block section where there's like 15 stops.
Oh, wow.
And so I was driving with my Pokeball connected, so I was trying to drive slow enough that it would detect them and spin them, and detect them and spin them. Right.
Now, what we are not advocating is that you play Pokemon Go and drive at the same time.
Well, which is why I was letting it do the spinning for me. I wasn't playing it. I wasn't using my phone at all while I was driving.
Exactly. Just want to make sure that's clear, because sometimes we get message from people. They're like, "You were driving and playing Pokemon Go?" No.
Yeah. In that video from a month ago, I think 2 or 3 people asked, "Were you driving?" I'm like, "No, I wasn't driving. My daughter was driving. I was recording."
So we definitely do not advocate. We do not advocate that one.
No.
All right, folks. So speaking of Pokemon Go, and I'm sure there's, I'm sure there's a lot more going on to Pokemon Go, and of course, if you guys are keeping up with Pokemon Go, and let us know. Let us know how that's going for you. But let's jump into it.
Actually, I did want to mention one more thing that I forgot to add in the notes. I talked about before how you can get Meltan to spawn if you have Let's Go tied to Go. Before, it was limited to 10 spawns in your half hour of letting Meltan spawn. They increased it. I think there's a theoretical maximum of 20 now, but it's but it'll still spawn one at a time. So you've got to engage it as fast as possible and catch it as fast as possible. So if you take a few misses, they could miss one of the spawns. So when I triggered the box yesterday, I had 18 spawns.
Okay. Interesting.
So, interesting. Put me over 200 candies. So probably I'll be able to evolve one into a Melmetal in probably 2 weeks.
That's awesome.
Before the end of the year.
Okay, nice. I am at a spot where I have to now do a lot of walking to grind out and to evolve some of my stuff. But let's move on from Pokemon Go to some other very interesting news. Just some quick pieces of information here. Obviously, we will talk about Super Smash Bros. Here in a couple of moments, but just a couple other news items that have hit the docket that we want to make sure you're aware of. The Nintendo Switch has passes the PlayStation Vita sales in Japan, and the Switch has sold over 3 million units in Japan. Now, that is a fantastic number.
6 million.
6 million. Did I not say 6 million?
I think you said 3.
Oh, did I? Could be. It's 4 a.m. It's early here. So 6 million units in Japan. And again, I think that's, I think when we've talked about the Japanese market before, and it's I guess, preference for portable gaming. I think that obviously the Nintendo Switch lands so well into that culture, and kind of just the way that they are, the way that kind of the city and the culture and people are kind of acceptance of video games, which I think is fantastic.
A lot of mass transit. So it's the mobile and portable games are big.
Makes a lot of sense there. So this is, and obviously we know that Nintendo actually just released just a handheld version of the Switch in Japan as well, tailoring to that market. So it's great to see those sales as well. Speaking of a couple more pieces of sales information, which people are kind of roll their eyes about sales information. Now, Reggie has actually mentioned that he is confident that Nintendo Switch will indeed reach the 20 million units in fiscal year of 2018. Now, this is actually a little bit of a counter statement to what Michael Patcher, who is kind of a Nintendo analyst, says, and he isn't sure that the 20 million, but says they can definitely reach 15 million. Nintendo will be in good shape and shouldn't see disruption in their actual momentum. Now, obviously, there has been a huge amount of news and information regarding sales. Nintendo has done a fantastic job this quarter as they try to push their sales and have put a massive amount of different bundles for people to be picking up. And just, anecdotally, a bit of observations of kind of going down to the local toy store, grabbing some of my games there, and talking to friends. I know that what I'm seeing, and I know that we're hardcore Nintendo fans, and we purchased it in the first year, right? And it's like, why? We would definitely purchase it the first year. Why are people waiting? And now we're seeing people who are like, Smash is out, Pokemon is out. These bundles are out. I think we're really. I don't think that this 20 million is actually going to be that far off if they don't meet it, which is a little bit of Michael's point here. But I've seen a lot.
I see questions in forums. Should I buy a Switch or a PS4? I'm like, how do you not have a PS4 yet? The thing's at near end of life.
Yeah. I think it's interesting though. But like again, I know just in my and I don't have a lot of friends here. I don't have a lot of people I know, but I already know over this Christmas 3 people in my office have bought Nintendo Switches. So again, it's not a huge point, and I've gone into the local Smith stores and waited in queues to grab games, and people have been like, "Oh, I'll get a Switch bundle. I'll get a Switch bundle. I'll get a Switch bundle." So I do think that whether it's Let's Go or whether it's Smash, these bundles have been put together. I do think Nintendo has aligned itself really well for the holiday seasons, and I am very excited to actually see what these final sales numbers are, because I think that they may actually end up meeting it as well. Gentlemen, sales numbers are so exciting, obviously. Any final thoughts on either of those things?
I'm looking forward to seeing what the numbers look like when they do the third quarter reveals next month.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's interesting as Nintendo fans, because obviously we on the edge of our seats since the Wii U, and we were watching those numbers not rise. Mm-hmm. And now we've seen them sort of take off a skyrocket, and the mainline Pokemon isn't even out yet. So it's only going to grow and get stronger, and yeah, it's a good thing.
And the reason why we cover these numbers, where a lot of other shows may not, because we're not gaming media first. Mm-hmm. We've all got other full-time jobs, so we're business people primarily, with gamers and podcasters second. So that's at least that's why these numbers interest me. It's because of the business aspect of things.
Yeah, I mean, I think as much as we talk about like the console wars and which consoles are better and the kind of the who's exclusive to first, who brings what to where, I think that what is so important and I know people like roll their eyes at the figures, but this is really the pulse check of how a system is running and what the cultural attachment rate is to an idea and whether an idea landed, right? So I mean, you look at something like the Wii that sold over 100 million units, right? Like that sets a freaking bar for what we want to do. And then you look at something like the Wii U that only sold about 13 million. So you have to think where in between that will a Nintendo Switch actually land, and are we just really big fans and we're kind of isolating this bubble and we think it's great and there's some issues with it, but like overall, or is it this mass market as well? Now, interestingly enough, I think for those of you in the U.S., Ellen DeGeneres put it on her like top 5 or top 15 gifts that you have to have or something like that, some like Christmas list or something like that. So I'm sure a little bit of influencer there helped that some of the sales potential as well.
This is getting mainstream press, just like we did when it was new.
Yeah, exactly. Which is exactly what a company wants it to do and what Nintendo wants it to do. So we'll move off here, and I think I saw someone in the chat saying that Michael is not a video game analyst, I believe, or a video game journalist. That's not his job. So I apologize to Heart and Soul. I could be wrong on that one. So thanks for keeping me honest.
He just seems to talk about gaming a lot.
He does, yeah, exactly. And very much like we talk about video games, we're not video game journalists either. But thank you very much for checking back and keeping us honest there. I like that a lot. All right, so let's jump into some more interesting news. Ladies and gentlemen, a little game, just a small, itty-bitty independent title dropped last week that I think that seems to have grabbed a lot of people's attention. It's a game called, let me check my notes here, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, I think. Yeah, I think that's new. But of course, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate launched last Friday and has taken the world by storm. Has sold over 1.2 million million units in Japan, and that was within the first 3 days. Now, sales numbers from other regions are not yet fully known, and likely we won't actually know this until third quarter fiscal results are actually released in January. However, I suspect in the coming weeks, Nintendo will make some official PR announcement about how many they sold for Smash. And again, we're a little bit of a insulary group where we're kind of, we're fans of fans and know what's going on. But I turned on my Switch on Friday evening, and I had 17 people online, and I think 15 of them were playing Smash, and one person was figuring out what the YouTube channel was. So Smash has been huge. I was going to
say maybe that was me, but if it was YouTube, it wasn't me because I haven't downloaded YouTube.
There you go. So Smash has taken the world by storm, and on the back of that as well, I will also say version 1.2 is now out. For those of you that may be listening right now, you can go download it as well. I haven't got the patch notes in front of me, but it did hit just about an hour ago. Jesse, I'm going to ask a question that we led with. Have you played Smash at all?
I have not.
Okay.
Big shocker.
No, yeah, okay, big shocker.
That was 40 minutes of suspense wasted.
I know. Wasted. Right, exactly. People are like, I'm going home now. Turn off the podcast.
I think my son has played enough for the both of us because he had all fighters unlocked before Sunday night.
Okay. Gotcha. So okay, I'm gonna kind of lean into that then. What is Matthew's impression of Smash, or what are his thoughts?
I haven't.
Like, has he seemed to enjoy it?
I think so. When he's home, I don't. Unless he's sleeping, he's playing it.
Okay.
And he's not. Yeah. So he recently got a TV in his bedroom because his friend got a new TV, so that friend gave Matthew his old one.
Okay.
So instantly, that dock Ethernet cable, all that got hooked up into it as well. So he still comes down to play from time to time to record and stream, but now he can play in his room. And
the child will not see the light of day until March of 2019.
Right, and he hasn't gotten the Switch repaired from a busted rail. That's been broken for like 3 or 4 months, so he can't play in handheld mode.
Oh man, that sucks.
He can tabletop it, but that's not a very good experience. So he pretty much has to play it on TV right now until he gets that rail fixed.
Absolutely.
And I heard that game doesn't play well in handheld either because you're shaking the screen all over the place.
Yeah, I would agree. So I picked it up as well. Gary, you got a copy of it now. I would agree that I don't think I struggled to play it in handheld. It did not feel as right as I wanted it to. I think the Pro Controller is the best method that I have to use it, but that's just my opinion. Gary, let's go over to you as you have actually played Smash. How are you getting on with it?
I'm slowly getting there. I've been playing quite a lot of online, but we'll talk about this a bit later on in what we've been playing. But it's I'm slowly getting the roster unlocked. It is a bit of a grind, which I'm sure everyone's heard.
I'm gonna stop you right there, Gary. Benji asks another Smash question: where do you guys stand on the grind to unlock fighter versus all fighters unlock day one debate? So the debate that Gary is talking about right there is the internet was a bit whiny, would be the word I would use. Come at me, bro.
During which way? Because of
they were more whiny that in some ways that you had to actually unlock your characters, and so I shouldn't use the word whiny because that's not fair.
Because I hear a lot of people complaining about Mario Kart 8 that they didn't have to unlock anything. They were hoping to do so. So a lot of people didn't put as much time into that game as they normally would have.
So the debate here is basically, should all the fighters be unlocked on day one? You can just grab them, or should you have to grind out to unlock them? Here's where I stand, and I have been playing it I've put about 3 or 4 hours into it. I have not unlocked everyone. I've played a little bit of the World of Light, which I'm unlocking some of them there, but I'm mainly just doing like stock matches, jumping in and out, playing a couple matches, and going. And you can unlock several by doing that. I don't have a huge issue with it because I think here's the thing. That's part of the artistic visioning of the experience the artist, Sakurai, wants you to have. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the vision of how the game is built, is that you have to earn these things. You have to battle your way through it. Now, I can understand people are like, I just paid for this. I want to be able to like instantly pop in my cartridge, play as Incineroar, have a match, and we're brilliant. And I understand that. And I don't know if the best compromise would be like at the beginning, you get some question of like, would you like them all unlocked now, or would you like to actually play to earn them? So in my opinion, Benji,
$5 DLC, unlock all.
Yeah, I don't know. In my opinion, Benji, I am. Where do I stand on it? Is I'm okay to grind to unlock because it brings me back to it, and it challenges me, and you can find different ways. Now, I mean, here's the thing: is I've gone to some of these unlock foes, and I've lost. I've lost a couple times. I'm going to be really honest with you. I am getting owned right now by Bowser. I don't know why. I just can't seem to beat him right now.
Yeah, my son said that when he unlocked Simon, that he goes. The first thing he says was that whip is broken because he got hit from across the screen. He went from 0 to 95% in 3 hits. Wow,
maybe they balanced that out in 1.0 or 1.2. But I would say, like, for me, I think that's if I would say this, if it was not, and the reality is like I don't have a bunch of people that I can have over to play the game. So for me, what's drawing it back? For me, and I've said this before as a Smash player, is 2 things that keep drawing me back to the game. 1, I'm going to play online with friends, and then 2. It's either the world of light or the ability to unlock. And if both of those things did not exist, then I don't know if the desire for me to go back and play would be as high as it should be, right? But right now, I'm like this morning before the podcast, I had about 10 minutes. I was like, I could jump into a game of Fortnite, or I could, I could maybe unlock a couple characters in Smash. So what I jumped in and unlocked Ike and someone else. So I'm a believer that it's okay to grind it out, and I grind to win, or not grind to win, but grind to unlock. Now we have a lot of people who are in the chat. From our YouTube area. So guys, let us know what you guys think and what you prefer as well. So throw some comments in there. But I'm going to go over to you, Gary. Where do you stand on this?
I like it. I prefer having something to unlock. I think if you had everything from the word go, I wouldn't be playing it pretty much hardly at all. Because I think my opinions, like I said, we'll save my overall opinions till what we've been playing. But I think if you didn't have them in World of Light, then World of Light would probably take a big hit and not keep you motivated as much. But because you can unlock them literally in any way, you can play pretty much any mode and there will be some way of unlocking them. You just have to play the game. It's not a bad thing at all.
Yeah. And I'm just taking a quick look at it here. Timothy Alf says, I love playing Smash in handheld. Timothy, go home. You're drunk. That's just my opinion. Timothy, I love you, though. It's funny. Mizkaz 3. I had fun unlocking everyone, but got my butt kicked multiple times. Yeah, absolutely. I just unlocked everyone yesterday. Yep, absolutely. Let's see here. What else do we got? Yeah, so we're seeing some people to jump in that way as well. Now, speaking of online, question was asked, Gary, I'm going to throw this to you, speaking because you are my online person right now. Paul Lloyd, good friend of the show, asks, do you think that Nintendo for online service should have better quality matches for Smash, or is it still cheap enough that we shouldn't really complain about it? Ooh, what do you think? Gary, you've been playing a lot of online, right? How has that been landing for you?
It's terrible.
Yeah, I'm glad I wasn't the only one.
Yeah, I think Smash... when the reviews for Smash came out from a lot of outlets, they didn't play it online. So a lot of them were scoring the game before online even hit for them. Because online was activated, I think, the day before release. Yep. It was somewhere around there. And you don't get a feel of playing with the general public either, because a lot of the media outlets are going to have good Wi-Fi. That's their job. So... even then you wouldn't get a proper sort of verdict on it. Playing against normal people is horrific. I think I've had one match out of every single match I've played on it so far that has ran completely smooth. Okay. I've had a few that only lag a tiny bit, and then I've had some that are near impossible to even enjoy. They are so slow. And I think that a testament to Nintendo's online service, which we all know exactly how I feel about that and how a lot of other people feel about it, is that this is a major, major hit to confidence in the online service. if they had their own dedicated servers running Smash Bros, then it would be a different story. But basically, they're charging you to use other people's consoles as the basis for the gameplay, which just it's not working. I think they need to sort out the online urgently and get Smash working.
Yeah. Sure. I would definitely agree with that. So I've jumped on to do online twice. One time I wasn't even able to connect. And the second time I got into a match and played, and then it froze and then gone. So I have not been able to play online. And I think that's, we all talked about how this the online service needed to launch when Smash launched. I can now probably understand why they didn't do that. Because if this was the experience that we had after we all paid our $20 a year or whatever it was, and it didn't work, we'd be so frustrated. And Paul, your question is really about the dollar value, right? Can we really complain that Nintendo doesn't have a great online service when we only paid less than €2 or whatever it is, or £2 a month? No,
yes, we absolutely can.
Yeah, it goes back to the value, but if we're already devaluing the service, then we believe it's acceptable to perform the way it is, and it's not acceptable, right? This is a major multiplayer game that is functionally for online, and you can't get that to work. Do you know what I mean? That's not acceptable. And you have other examples of games now that work. ARMS does a great job for their online service. Mario Kart does a great job for their online service. I would even argue that Mario Tennis has done a much better job. But this is somewhere that Nintendo continues to fail and stumble at. And I think that when, for someone like me who, here's the thing that I really just want to be able to do is I want to go online and I want to find, Marty, and I want to find Gary, and I want to find all the Nintendo Dad community people and our fans and say, I want to play a match with you and just have fun. And I can't seem to be able to do that. And I can't seem to be able to do that in a way that I can't just find Marty, or I can't just find you, Gary, I don't think. So maybe I'm wrong on that one. And then the other one, I don't have faith that the connection is sturdy enough that we can actually have a good match. That's not going to frustrate me, and then we're going to end up going somewhere else. Do you know what I mean? And so that is really a lackluster experience. And I think it hampers the game in a way that it needs to get resolved. And I don't know how Nintendo does that. And I don't know whether, and they can't be saying, well, have to have the internet connection port to make it better. No, you just need to make it better. Do you know what I mean? You have other games like Fortnite that does it incredibly well. You can list the online games that do it well, and you're telling me you can't. This is frustrating.
Yeah. Fortnite's the best example. You got 100 people on one map using a dedicated server to run that game. You shoot a gun, that needs to instantly hit the other person. So Fortnite is a testament to how games should be running. It's running on a lower powered machine, the Switch, and it's still working absolutely perfect no matter who you're playing with or what system they're playing with. Now, Smash is a fighting game where there's only 4 people. You're talking about 100 people in a game that runs completely fine versus 4 people in a game that does not run very well at all. That's the difference with dedicated servers. That's what we should be getting for our money. Yeah. Because right now, the NES games, they're not doing it for me. I'm sure they're not doing it really for anyone at the minute. So what am I actually paying £20 for? And this goes back to Paul's question, because as a value, £20 has got me nothing. I could have brought Celeste, a game of the year, with that £20. Yeah. But right now, I haven't actually played anything that's been worth that £20 so far.
Yeah. Now in the chat here, I see that Ebusel says, Justin, how are you going to fix your latency or miles from Jesse and Marty? You're absolutely right. The latency thing for me is something that I would just have to deal with. But even just the ability to find, Gary, who is not miles and miles. Well, he is. Still Ireland to London is different as well. But I was able to play with people on ARMS and not have as much latency either. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It's frustrating for sure. We're going to talk more about Smash later on when we get into what we've been playing. But great question. So we're going to jump right into some more information here. Just a little bit of an information. This Saturday, is Nintendo Family Fun Day or Fun Saturday over in Best Buy, and you can check out your local stores from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. There is some events going on there from Nintendo. Now, what I do want to actually call our attention to is this past Saturday, on December 18th, the Kind of Funny Games Showcase was held, and it showcased over 69 games in total. And out of those 69 games, actually 27 of them are coming out to the Nintendo Switch, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, if you're looking for an entire rundown, you can actually go to AniGamer, so ANI game.com, and there are the 27 that are coming to it. But I'll just kind of read a quick couple of them so people are aware of. We have some information such as Super Meat Boy Forever actually gets a release window of April 2019. Yakai is a postmodern RPG, which is coming out January 17th. Toe Jam and Earl Back in the Groove is March 1st. The Messenger Picnic Panic is actually a free expansion from Devolver. Guacamelee 2, which is out currently, you can now get. Celeste, speaking of, gets a physical edition release in January 1st. Away, Journey to the Unexpected from Playtis Games is actually getting a date of February 7th. Let's see what else here comes out. Ape out from Devolver Digital is February 7th. There is a ton of games, again, 27 games in total that are coming to the Nintendo Switch. And, of course, Double Cross from 13 AM Games coming out this January, early January, actually, just got a press release for it. So a ton of games coming out, and it was a great opportunity to showcase it. Very much took the kind of approach of a Nintendo Direct. So if you guys have about an hour's worth of time, which is how much it is, go over to Kind of Funny on YouTube, search them, and watch their showcase. They did an absolutely fantastic job, and it was a great opportunity to showcase amazing games coming to multiple platforms across the entire ecosystems of games to get hyped about in 2019. I know Gary, I know you didn't watch the event. Did any of these games, as you look at the titles, stand out to you? And I'll throw that, as you're looking at that, I'll throw it over to Jesse. Jesse, anything stand out for you that you're excited about?
Not particularly. I do recognize a lot of these games from games that we added to our future release. Mm-hmm. So I'll need to go in and update those dates. But as for anything that I want to play, there's something. A lot of games here I know nothing about. So maybe once I get a little bit of information, I might be interested in. I got to see what Yeek's about.
Yeah, that one actually looked interesting. There was actually a game called Moving Out from the team over at SMG, and for those who don't know, SMG Studios is the folks behind Death Squared and Super One More Jump, and they're doing a game called Moving Out, and it looks like, basically described as Overcooked meets a moving company, and it looks really quite fun, but it doesn't appear to have a Nintendo Switch associated with it yet. I wonder, it probably come to Switch eventually, but it definitely has my attention.
Yeah, I've actually been waiting for a Celeste physical release for a while. I didn't pick it up when it came out, and when he got nominated for Game of the Year, it made me really kick myself. Yeah. So I thought I'd hold on to see if there's a physical. The problem with these physical releases from the indie devs is that you never know where they're going to land. For instance, Monster Boy, I was waiting for the physical version, and guess what? It doesn't come out in England.
Oh, no.
So I'm hoping that will, because that'll be when I get Celeste. Also, I've seen on here that Huey Games have got a new game called Wreckout in Q2 2019. I don't know anything about this game, but Huey Games did Hyper Sentinel this year, which is a retro-inspired arcade game, which I played to death. So hopefully this is another one that's sort of in that vein.
Yeah.
Right, so I just looked at the Steam page for what you said is Yeek.
Yeah.
They actually say how it's pronounced. It's pronounced Y2K.
Well, that wasn't put in my show notes, was it?
No, it wasn't. So the video is kind of trippy. The elevator pitch looks like a 3D Earthbound.
Nice. Looks good. I like it.
So I'll be looking into that.
Nice. For me, I'm definitely excited for Super Meat Boy Forever. Now, Gary, you and I saw this at EGX 2 years ago. and we actually got to meet up with Tommy and have a chat about it. So I'm excited that that's finally getting a release date. And then the Messenger Picnic Panic free expansion, love that for sure. Thank you very much to those guys. That's a great game. Guacamelee 2, I'll actually be talking about that today because I've been playing it. And I think the one for me that kind of stands out is Double Cross, and that's from 13 AM Games, and those are our friends over who did Runbow. So those are, again, games that I think kind of, if I know the studios, that I typically have my attention. So again, ton of games. Again, also probably not like your Switch is lacking content, folks. There's an amazing amount of games that are available out there as well. And Gary, I would say this about Monster Boy: pick it up, you're going to love it. So you may have to get it digitally.
Yeah, looks like you're an import.
Yeah. Now, speaking of if I would be remiss if I didn't also mention that there is a ton of sales right now in the eShop. There is kind of the festive season sales that Nintendo's putting out. So make sure if you're looking for games, maybe have them on your wish list that you've added. There may be some sale prices now that Christmas is coming about, and you may be having some gift cards or eShop cards. So check that out as well. All right, folks, that is it for the news. I'm going to go over to our chat here, mention if there is anything here that I'm missing out to. Tim says he's looking forward to Ape Out. Absolutely. All right. Yes. Call out to the Euro boys. All right. Jesse and the Euro boys. Jesse, can you play that? Mooses. Nice. Jesse, can you... Oh, my God. Jesse, can you be playing our What Have You Been Playing bumper, please?
Please understand.
All right, lads. We have been playing a ton of games. I'm going to hold everyone to a 2-minute timer, though, so that we don't bore people to death here necessarily. So let's start off, Jesse.
You
got a
said that just because you saw what's on my list.
I did see that. I'm not going to lie. But I'm going to hold myself that 2-minute timer, too. Jesse, why don't we... Now, first thing I want to say is, Jesse, you got the flip grip.
I did.
You mentioned that here. How has that been getting on? I think you got it last show, or Marty had it last show, right?
Yeah, I had it last show. It was still in box. I showed it to the camera.
Okay.
I tried to do an unboxing, but that video didn't work out at all. So I tried playing a little bit of the arcade Punch-Out, which I still don't understand how that game works. It's a completely different game than the NES Punch-Out. So most of the time I've been playing Donkey Kong with it, and it works nice. The Switch and the Joy-Con snap in without. It won't easily be pulled out unless you do what you have to do to remove it. So it doesn't feel like it's going to fall out. It's not going to shake around while you play. It seems pretty sturdy.
I like it.
I like it.
All right. You have been playing some games here that I'm actually slightly interested in. The game that probably decided to drop on the worst day possible, Katamari Demo Reroll. Now, you've been playing the demo, which dropped the exact same day as Smash Brothers. How has that been going for you?
Yeah, I just played the demo through once. It's basically the first level. And it doesn't even give you the real game. You as you pass levels, you unlock additional levels, and you're able to go back and replay older levels to try to get a better score. This literally you get once. I was successful in my first shot, so I'm not sure if you fail, it'll let you try again, or if it takes you all the way back to the beginning and you have to reload everything and get it going. But it's Katamari. If you know how that plays, it plays the same. The HD graphics look nice, though I forgot how the controls work. And for a demo, you'd think they'd want you to remind people how to play it. There was no manual. There's no clues as to what you're supposed to do. I wasted a minute and a half trying to remember the controls from when I played it on the PS2. I finally did figure it out, and I managed to somehow still beat the level with over a minute to spare. The controls are like tanking controls using both sticks for those who don't know how to play it.
My impression from what I've seen of this and heard of people, like if you people who play this game love this game, right? There's usually no really in between. Like it kind of scratches that itch. And someone actually I was talking to Adam and John from Megadads actually recently, and they were describing it sort of like the same approach as something like Donut County, which comes out this next week on the Switch as well, which is kind of interesting, kind of Zen-like or can be very Zen-like puzzle solver. Would you recommend this game from what you've had from the demo?
Yeah, unless you've never tried it before, you know, if you've played it before, you know if you like it, and if you like it, it's the same game. You'll like it again. Sure. I probably will still pick it up. So I haven't done that yet, but I have other games on my list I want to play first.
Sure. So again, if you're questioning it, you're not 100% sure, there's a demo and you can check it out. Now, you've also been playing Sega Ages Phantasy Star. Is that right?
Yeah, that came out today. I started playing that.
That's an eShop download, right?
Yes.
Okay, again, it's a Sega thing, so I don't really pay attention to it, don't really care, but I'll let you do that.
Yeah, I've never played it before because I've never owned a Master System. I've never owned a Genesis. So this is an old Master System game, and so I've never played any Phantasy Star or Phantasy Star Online. So I've no idea what to expect out of this. So I played maybe the first hour and a half, and it's got Dragon Quest all over it. As you can tell that was an influence. I double checked the release dates for the original Dragon Quest in Japan and Phantasy Star in Japan, and yeah, there's like an 18-month gap. So
oh wow, okay.
So the battles are you versus the enemies. Though if there are multiple enemies, you still only see one of them, but you see multiple hit point numbers, so you know there's two of them. Mm-hmm. And you don't see yourself, so you're.
I'll be right back.
Okay, and then the churches and the towns where you go to revive a dead party member, but I haven't found anyone to join my party yet, so I haven't had need for that. Then various cities will have a hospital you can go to heal. I haven't needed that because the first town has a place where you can heal for free. So I've been leveraging that. So far, I haven't gotten very far in the game other than just the normal spend half hour to an hour grinding near the city. Ooh, he should have muted.
Yeah, I should have. I apologize. That was my bad. My bad. There was this spider that's been creeping across my walls. I've been staring at it the entire time, and one of us was going to have to leave this room, and it wasn't going to be me.
So it was you.
So most of my time has been that early grinding to get enough money to buy the better weapon and the better armor first before you go into the first dungeon.
Sure.
And so basically, the things I've learned, like in this first hour, is there's a character named Odin, which I'm supposed to try to find, and he's going to be one of my party. Odin tried to fight Medusa and lost. I think I found his stone statue-like being in a cave, so I need to find something to break that spell for him to join my party. I found another dungeon where the first thing you see is a locked door. So I've got other places I need to start exploring, but I'm running out of things, so hopefully nice. I find out what I need to find out soon.
So more to come on that one. Again, Phantasy Star for me, I've heard of it. I think it's been as just a fan of video games. I've heard it mentioned a lot. Do you know what I mean? Especially tied with the Sega as well. So I knew of its existence, but I didn't know enough about it. But again, available on the eShop.
I've heard more about Phantasy Star Online than I have the original Phantasy Star.
Yeah. Again, available on the eShop, so you can check it out.
And one thing that the Switch version does do is it's completely optional. You can take it off if you don't want it. But I think I'm going to love that feature because the dungeons are, like, in first-person view. You see the corridors. You can choose, straight, left, and right. And if you want to go backwards, you need to turn left or right twice and then go forward again.
Okay.
So as the default view, the game takes up about 2/3 of the screen. Then you have this little icon in the lower right that is, when you're not in a dungeon, is just like a map of the universe, of your solar system. There's 3 planets around that sun. But when you're in a dungeon, it turns into an auto map.
Okay.
And,
cool.
So before that, I'm sure you had to map it yourself. So I'm sure with that auto map is going to make things a lot easier.
Lovely.
And it comes with a classic mode and what they call an ages mode. They say the ages mode is an easier way to play. The spawn rate is less, and the money and XP increases per spawn.
Okay,
That's
cool.
the mode. That's the mode I'm playing.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Speaking of playing some Sega games, Gary, you've been playing Sega Mega Drive Collection, which, if I know anything about Sega, it's probably just a dumpster fire. But you tell me more, sir.
No, Sega does what Nintendo don't again.
Ooh,
once again.
Shots fired.
Because,
shots fired.
like Phantasy Star, with their little tweaks on that with the Sega Ages collection, they did the same with the Sonic. And I've got to say, the Mega Drive collection is probably some of the best emulation I've ever seen. It's got a mode where you can add extra pixels in. Basically, it just auto-fills like corners and things. Really cool options in there. It's quite a big collection. It's 50 games. Unfortunately for the Switch, they took out the Monster Boy games, the Wonder Boy games, which I hate because I brought it for those, and then only to find it didn't have them.
Which you can buy currently on the Switch, of course.
Yeah, one of them.
You can buy Monster Boy and Wonder Boy.
Yeah, Monster Boy's new.
Sorry, you can buy Wonder Boy, not Monster Boy. I apologize.
Wonder Boy, yeah, it's so it's a really good collection of games. Basically, anybody who's had a Genesis or Mega Drive knows the big hitters. Really, it's limited on its Sonic games. You've only got 1, 2, 3D Blast, and Spinball, and Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. But yeah, it's a really good collection. The emulation's good. The menu layout's a bit weird, but as a collection of retro games, this is probably one of the best I've played.
Right.
As long as you like Genesis, of course. And
this is, as I remember correctly here, Gary, keep me honest here, this is kind of Sega doing, and to your point, what Nintendo don't, is that they put their retro, all the retro games onto a cartridge where you could have access, right? This is one of the things that we had said, like, hey, they should be doing this for the the NES Classic or for the SNES Classic, or the Minis, I apologize. Putting it all on a cartridge. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like I say, the big difference between anything that Nintendo's ever done like this and Sega is Nintendo get their emulation of the original games spot on, and they don't really go above and beyond. This has got so many options. It's crazy. You can you can do the normal things, the filters to make it look like an old TV, but you can also choose how round the TV would have been.
Nice.
You can stretch it full screen. You can add in extra pixels. You can do all sorts of crazy things with it. But I mean, these collections are great. We've had the Mega Man ones. We've got this. They're a really good thing. I just hope that Nintendo actually do this. Like I would thoroughly enjoy a GameCube collection, but I don't think that's ever going to happen because there's way too much money in remasters and re-releases.
Yeah.
But I've been playing other games as well. And I've been playing a lot of other games. And speaking of classics, Roller Coaster Tycoon has hit the Switch. Unfortunately, like the classics, Roller Coaster Tycoons, this one's actually modelled off the mobile version. Oh. So I know there's a few people who are interested in this, but it's quite hard to find physically. And so basically, this is nothing like the original Roller Coaster Tycoon in any sort of way. It's actually closer to Theme Park, which if you guys remember that game.
Oh yes, the fantastic Theme Park game. Yes.
So basically, it's missing a lot of things that the original had. All the maps are flat. They're on flat ground, so there's no sort of hills and landscaping to do. To build a ride, you simply click it, drop it, and you can move it anytime you want freely. I have been having fun with it. It's very simple. Like I say, it's based on the mobile one. You have to sort of collect. You have to do research to unlock new rides, which is pretty much done over a time period for money. It's easy. It's incredibly easy so far. I haven't run into any challenges because there is like you select a theme park and then you have to do some challenges. There's also an adventure mode, the main mode, which is basically just do your theme park and every once in a while they'll hit you with a question like, hey, your advisor says you should put money into this sort of advertisement, but everybody at investors think you should do this, and you select one or the other. One will give you a lot of money, the other one won't. It'll put a limitation on you, like you'll lose 75% of your profits for the next 30 days in game. And so there is a lot of downsides to this. Graphically, it's not very good until you zoom in. Once you zoom in, it looks good, but really to play these games, you want to be zoomed out, and for some reason, it gets worse and worse as you go further out. And the other thing is the roller coaster construction is horrendous. It's very bad, which is a shame because that's the main selling point of Roller Coaster Tycoon is roller coasters.
Right.
But the construction of them is pretty awful.
Okay.
But overall, it is pretty fun. You know, these sort of things come down to cost. At the current price, as it stands, I wouldn't recommend it. If you like the mobile games, then I probably would.
Right.
So if you want to know what it's like, have a go with the mobile game. If you like how simplistic it is, then the Switch version is basically more of the same.
Lovely. And the other one you've been playing looks like is Conduct Together?
Conduct Together, yes. This is a train puzzle game.
Puzzle game.
Yeah, so basically this is multiplayer as well. Incredibly fun game. Really clean looking visuals, nice and crisp, and simplistic in design. Basically, you have a track and some stations, and you'll have a train that you'll have to pick passengers up from a coloured station, and then your train will turn a colour, and you have to get that train to the next the station of the same colour, and there'll be hazards sharing the same track, so you have to stop the trains at certain points to let hazards pass, or switch rails for them to go into a different track in a different loop. It's insanely hard, and on multiplayer, it is probably more of a... You'll do more screaming at each other than Overcooked, basically. This it's one of those games that is really addictive. So I picked it up, and I actually ended up playing it more than Smash on the day of Smash's release. Because I played Smash, and then I was like, I'll play a couple of games around together before I go to bed. No. Conduct Together, I ended up staying up all night playing this game.
Right.
So, highly recommended from me if you like puzzle games.
Lovely. I like it. Speaking of, you have brought us to this bridge, Gary. Shall we now, again... Should we talk a little bit about Smash? Because we've been playing it. You've been playing it. I've been playing it. Jesse just pretends.
Looked at it.
Jesse looked at it longingly. Gary, and again, people in the chat, comments, feel free to throw it in there. What are you thinking of Smash? How you've played it, but you've played it before, right? We have both played it at different events. What do you think of this? How are you feeling about it?
So we'll rewind a little bit and go to the first time I ever played it, which was in the summer sometime.
Yeah, that event in July, right?
Yeah, and I was blown away by it. I thought that it was local multiplayer, 4-player, and I thought that it played brilliantly. It was smooth. It looked good. Definitely the best Smash in terms of normal, Smash round. So, obviously, my expectations are built from there. Now, the only couple of things I wanted from this new Smash was, A, to be good online. We've already spoke a little bit about that. And for there to be some sort of reason to go back to it as a solo player. Not saying that I wanted a story mode like Subspace Embassy, because, to be fair, I didn't really like Subspace Embassy too much. But just a reason to go back and play it one player. So... we already know how online went. It's horrific. I'm actually incredibly disappointed in the game because of that. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad game, so before people start saying that in chat. But my disappointment...
You heard what he said, chat. Light him up.
Yeah. Get out your pitchforks. Gary's on a rant. So basically, I'm disappointed because of online. I'm really solidly disappointed by it. It's the one thing that I really wanted this to be good at, because we haven't had a good online Smash Brothers ever. And I would say that the online in this is probably one of the worst online experiences of the Switch so far. And I'm not sure if they didn't turn, like I was saying earlier about the review scores, I'm not sure if Nintendo knew this was going to happen, and that's why they didn't put the online on, a week in advance with the review copies going out. Mm-hmm. But other than that, the one-player mode, the Spirits mode, I'm hit and miss on that as well. So my main modes have been the classic mode and the normal Smash. Mm-hmm. And as the foundations of the game, as the controls and the characters and the levels, everything is the best it's ever been in Smash, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It is by far the best. Playing 4 players on the one Switch on the TV is great. Mm-hmm. Although you do have lag issues if it's more than one Switch, in the same way that online does, but just not as bad. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's a bit of a strange one, because it's the best Smash experience so far by a mile. It's just such a shame that online is so bad. And yeah, Spirits it's just a bit of a, without unlocking, if you didn't unlock characters in Spirit mode, I would actually probably not go back to it at all, because it's basically a series of special events. Like the first character that you fight might turn metal every 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And it starts to get really repetitive in that sort of way. So how far have you got through that, Justin? Are you finding the same as me, or are you enjoying that mode?
So I'm playing the World of Light, the Spirits mode, right? I've gotten probably about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours into it. I do find it sometimes it feels a little bit repetitive. I also feel like you're applying your spirits, right? There's a Y button, I think, like automatically does it for you, right? Kind of says like, hey, this is what you should be doing, which I kind of like, as opposed to, trying to figure out which one is the best. And they kind of like auto sort, which I think is great. But then when you're doing that, it kind of takes away from a little bit of that, like, trying to figure it out yourself functionality. Do you know what I mean? The challenge is like, because basically your spirit helps to mute whatever special ability the other person has. So therefore it kind of like just level sets the game. Do you know what I mean? So that feels a bit odd sometimes. I do like some of the challenges associated with it. I enjoy. I'm probably one of the few people who enjoyed Subspace Emissary. I thought they did a great job of it. I thought they did a fun story. I thought the cutscenes were brilliant. I definitely feel like the lack of cutscenes here kind of hurts at times. And I'm much like you. The online is a challenge for me. Now, I played this when I was at Gamescom, 4-player, and I had just a ball, right? And I think this is where Smash is its best. Smash at its absolute core best is couch chaos, right? It's sitting in your room with your mates, having a beer or whatever it is, having some food, and just having a blast. Do you know what I mean? That's where Smash built its fan base. That's where it started. And I think that at the core essence and the core roots of it, that's where it does really well. But in an age, when you turn the clock forward 20 years from when the original Smash was released, a lot of things have changed. And I think for them to have missed the online functionality in the way that they needed to, that's a huge disappointment. That is an absolute miss. Because for me, again, I don't have four people sitting around playing this game with me. My kids probably don't really want to play. They want to watch me play World of Light, but they don't really want to play Smash 4. Like, you want someone who's the same level as you, same level as competition, to have some fun, and this kind of like party mode around it. And I don't think my kids and my family would enjoy it the same. So for me, when I want to play competition wise, or want to try, I want an online function. I want to be able to play with my friends, and right now I don't seem to be able to do that, and that's frustrating. I think, even when I said before, like, I wasn't super hyped for Smash, and when I played at Gamescom, I was like, yeah, there is something special here. And I do agree with you. Over the last several iterations, this is the absolute best. And I think the statement of like, everyone is here is a great way of putting it. The amount of care, the amount of love that they've put into this. And what I mean by this, the characters, the spirits, the details, the soundtracks, the levels, right? It is a library of just the amazingness that Nintendo is, not only first party, but also its relationship with third parties, and sometimes the obscurity of those things. And I think that, from like a collector's perspective or a fan's perspective, that's what interests me. That I was like, wow, there's so much here. There's so much amazingness here. But I think when it boils down to like, if you're not a hardcore Smash fan and you don't have people who are maybe joining you regularly or have the availability to be playing regularly, I think this doesn't feel like as weighty or as important as other releases potentially. I'll still play it. I love unlocking the characters. I still realize I'm not good at Smash. I'm still not great, but it's also challenged me to try using different characters. Yeah, I don't know. Like that's kind of again, it's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. I'm not saying you shouldn't buy it, but just be aware of like what you're getting into, and how you view and how you enjoy Smash. So yeah,
I think the most fun I've had on it so far was actually it was an online mode, but it was playing just with my little brother, and we've both got a solid internet connection, so that was flawless. I just wish that the connection would be as good with people over the internet. Is basically we started up this online session, and it brings you to an awkwardly constructed room, which is I don't know if you've seen this for when you're playing with friends, but basically we just played random characters, random stage, and it was amazing. It's a look at the draw who you get, and it teaches you a lot of about the other characters in general. If you want to get good at Smash, I recommend playing as everyone regularly, so you can see the way that they move, you can see where their hits land and all that kind of stuff. Fighting against them, you will learn how they move, but it's not quite the same. You can see what you do in that situation. But I've got to ask you, Justin, how have you been playing this? Have you been playing it with Joy-Cons?
Sure.
That was my question. I was going to ask, what's your controller of choice?
Yeah, so my controller of choice is the Pro Controller. So I just have my regular Splatoon Pro Controller that I use for that. I did play it in handheld. I didn't feel like I had the same level of control in handheld. And actually, I did play yesterday using the Joy-Cons, the Joy-Con grip, only because my Pro Controller died. So, but yeah, Pro Controller is my absolute preference. I don't have a GameCube controller. Now, Gary, you have got a GameCube controller, right? And maybe that'll actually answer a great question from our friend Bruce Patterson. And Bruce asks, I got a question for you guys. What's up with the GameCube controller? What's so hot about it? I've never used a GameCube in my life. Bruce, you and I actually are not too far alike. I have only ever played a GameCube, I think, a couple of times, and I am not using the GameCube controller, and I would like someone to tell me what's so hot about it, because I have been tempted to buy one a couple of times, but I have stopped myself. So, Gary, please inform the uninformed about the GameCube controller.
So the GameCube controller now is a legacy controller. Basically, since the GameCube, you've been able to use it on every console since. It's one of the best designed controllers in terms of how it fits your hands ever. It's nice, small, comfortable, but it is starting to show its age now. So when I saw these controllers re-release and the adapter, I thought, well, that works backwards with everything else. The adapter works with the Wii U, so it's actually going to pay off now. Whereas when it was released for the Wii U Smash, it was only usable in Smash. And basically, my GameCube controllers, my old GameCube controllers have started wearing out, so I wanted a new one anyway, and this is the only way you're going to get a new one. And yeah, Smash is the game for the controller really as well. It's laid out perfectly for that controller, and I think that is part of the reason behind why people like it so much, is that big A button with the, and then the grab on the Z, which is at the top right and stuff. Everything just fits around Smash really well. If you don't have an issue playing with any other controller, then do not go out and buy an adapter and a controller, because it doesn't make a difference. It's just a preference. It's just a preference that people have because they like Melee so much. My experience of it is I do play with that controller the most, and I now play Mario Kart with that controller because it's compatible with any game on the Switch. But there's features of it that are missing. It doesn't have a ZL, it doesn't have a select button, a minus button, it doesn't have home, it doesn't have screen share, it doesn't have gyro, it doesn't have NFC, the analog stick doesn't click. Neither of them click. So it's missing a lot of stuff. It's just a preference. But one thing I have noticed is that the thumbstick is slippery compared to modern controllers. So I'm quite surprised that people still love it that much. If I could would I ever recommend it? I'm gonna say if you don't know what you're missing, then no, because you'll never know what you're missing.
And that's a little bit of actually my statement, and of course, Marty got access to the Power A wireless GameCube controller not too long ago from our friends. We put up a video, and it was really received quite well, by the way. So thank you for everyone who watched that. But I was kind of like maybe I need to pick up a Power A controller, and then I thought, hold on a second, should I need to pick up a different controller to play a game to make it feel better? Do you know what I mean? I'm like, is it me that's horrible at this game, or is it controller? And I think that makes me realize
what I said the other week about arcade sticks.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what made me kind of realize. I was like, if a game requires a specific controller for its approachability, then we have an issue. Do you know what I mean? The Smash community gravitated towards the controller mainly because of from the GameCube to the Wii, everything went wireless.
Yeah.
And they use it because it reduces lag, basically by something that you wouldn't even notice unless you're playing competitively. So having a GameCube controller on the Wii was the only way that you could have a wide connection, and it got rid of the lag. And I think that's where its legacy is carried on, because then for the Wii U, there wasn't really many USB controllers, so that again was the only way you could really hardwire in a controller. The Switch is a completely different ball game. If you've got a Pro controller and a USB cable, which it comes with, you can go into the options and turn wide connections on. You lose all the input lag, and it's exactly the same as the GameCube controller, so it makes no difference anymore. There is Power A and Hori controllers and all sorts which are wired as well, which again have no input lag. So it's a different. If you asked me this same question and it was the Wii U era, then I would say yes, get the controller. Now I'm saying no, don't. Just get any wired controller if you care about that little input lag. Right. But to be honest, if you're, we're all Nintendo, we're hardcore Nintendo fans to a point. I don't think that for us it makes a difference. I think only if you're playing competitively. Right. So any controller will do.
Okay. Any controller will do.
Cool. So even the Joy-Cons, single Joy-Con works pretty well as well.
Yep. That wireless Power A GameCube controller is what Matthew uses, and he loves it.
Yeah.
And it has all the missing buttons and all the other missing features that you were talking about before.
Yeah, it does look slick. There's one down here at the store I go to, and I'm like, oh man, I kind of think about it. So I may actually end up pulling the trigger eventually. Who knows? We're going to jump. Just before we jump in, I just want to actually call out two other games that I have been playing, just so it's on people's radar. First and foremost, I have been playing Monster Boy. And this came out just before Smash did, a couple days before. This is Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom. This is available in the eShop right now, and it is physical, I believe, in North America. This is a beautiful 2D platform adventure game. I played this at Gamescom in August, and this was my game of the show. I absolutely adore it. Now, its price tag in the eShop, I think, is about $40 maybe. It might feel a little bit high comparatively when you think it's an indie game potentially, but I will guarantee you it is worth it. It is such a beautiful game. You get to change into these different creatures that have different abilities. It is fantastic writing, beautiful graphics, challenging gameplay, very accessible for kids, so you can play it with your kids and help them out here and there. There isn't a two-player multiplayer option, I don't believe, as I'm pretty sure about that one. But it is, passive controlling, you have a lot of fun with it. The intro is like anime as anime can be, but it is really, really fantastic. And I would highly, highly, highly recommend Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom. And again, if it's too much money for you right now, you maybe know it's a little bit outside your price range because it's Christmas, not a problem. You spend some money. Make sure you put this on your wish list or on the Nintendo Switch. So when it comes on sale, you pick it up, but I would absolutely recommend it. Big thanks to actually the PR firm that sent us a copy of it. And it was really I love it. The other one I have been playing, speaking of 2D platformers, is Guacamelee 2. And again, this is from the team over at Drinkbox Studios. Big thanks to them for sending us a copy of this as well. I played Guacamelee 1 on the Wii U, and I enjoyed it. And I don't remember. I don't think I finished it. I got pretty far into it, but I don't think I finished it. But it was one of those games that I had heard about on other platforms. It showed up on the Wii U. I was like, oh, I definitely want to play it. And again, this one is a Metroidvania, or Castleroids game, whichever of those titles you prefer.
but it is a ton of fun. Very kind of, I don't know what that art style is, where it's kind of sharp edges, kind of very sharp lines, but it is a ton of fun to play. I sank about 4 hours into it recently, and this is actually the same time. Like, I got it the same day as Smash came out, and instead of playing Smash, I played Guacamelee 2, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. Again, if you've played Guacamelee 2 is not too far off. This one actually has a 4-player or multiplayer options available on it, which is really fantastic. So again, you can add some people to play with you. There is some great character design. It's funny, well written. There's some nice kind of inside baseball nods to pop culture. They actually steal the exact same statues that you use for Metroid. The Charizard kind of pick the images, you'd see them, you're like, that looks familiar. There's some references to like He-Man and some of their other games from like Severed. It's a ton of fun, really accessible. I'd highly recommend it if, again, you've played Guacamelee 1, Guacamelee 2 is kind of a lot of the same, but enjoyable. So those are the other games I have been playing. Oh, and one other thing, I've been playing Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, and I have been loving it. And I have been loving playing it with Pokeball Plus. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. Any questions about either of those games, gentlemen? No, I didn't think so.
No.
No.
Monster Boy is one of those games which, like I said, I played Wonder Boy Dragon's Trap. It actually came out on my birthday on last year.
Yep.
And that was one of the best games I think I own on Switch still to this point. So Monster Boy is definitely on my radar. It is the price tag that is slowing me down a little bit because, that's pretty. It's pretty steep, but I mean, you can see where the money went into it.
Absolutely,
it's all in the animation and stuff like that. It's so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just holding out, hoping they'll do a physical copy here in the UK, or if I can get one imported. Yeah,
absolutely. The challenge I've been having is that there are so many good games to be out there right now. And again, it's not. There's more games coming out next week that look fantastic. Let's jump into our community spotlight, shall we? Where we tackle some of these questions. All right, I've got some Twitter questions, and I have got some questions that have been emailed into us. We're going to tackle them today. Let's start off with this one. Mikey Burgett asks, what is the hardest character for each of you to unlock on Smash? For Jesse, it has been the actual cartridge. Gary, how about you? Hardest character?
I haven't got to a character that's been hard yet. Okay. I haven't unlocked too many, so I've heard they get harder and harder as it goes on.
Okay.
I think so far for me, it'd probably be Ice Climbers.
Yep. I would agree with you. The two that have been challenging for me the most, Mikey, has been the Ice Climbers and Bowser. Oddly enough, I have been getting just beat every single time that happens. Moving on to another question here. Daniel Ward asks, any chance of a kiss on the mouth? Also, what do you guys see in the next Direct for 2019 release? Danny, I am a handshake and sometimes a hug man. A kiss on the mouth, I just leave that for my wife. Not you, sir, but I appreciate the offer. What do I see in the next Direct for 2019? In the next Direct for 2019 will be coming in January. And again, you're like, but Justin, they haven't released it. Guess what? They have done an early January Direct every single year for the last 3 years. So it's going to happen again. Yep. Approximately around January 14th, probably. 14th or 15th. What Nintendo has to do in this Direct is they're going to outline their next 6 months because we don't know a lot. They're going to give us at least the first 3 months of what's occurring, what's coming up. So you'll probably get some information about coming up to end of April of here's some actual release dates. But then they're going to put some game out there that we have no idea ever existed, and they'll be releasing in June or May. But we really, as we move into 2019, we don't know a lot that's actually on the calendar. The only thing we definitively know is a date for Mario Deluxe, Super Mario Deluxe. I think is the only thing we actually know a date for. But they have a lot of hanging threads out there. And this actually rolls into, for those that are interested, head over to our YouTube channel because we actually today put up a Nintendo 2019 release calendar reveal video where I take and big thanks to Timothy All for helping us with this. I take what we know from Nintendo as the games they have announced for 2019 and games that have actual release dates, and then I look at the 2019 calendar and predictively put where I believe they will occur based on past data, past reactions, and past times what they've done. And I begin to build out a 2019 calendar. Take a look at it. Tell me where I'm wrong, because you can argue with me on a couple of things. I think some things I'm definitely 100% right on. And I also take guesses of what other games they may announce and release. So take a look at that. Also, I'll say this. Yes, I know I missed Fire Emblem. I'm sorry, okay? I forgot Fire Emblem. But who really cares about Fire Emblem, all right? Nobody.
Me.
Also, I think Fire Emblem is May. So again, Danny, going back to your point, Nintendo needs to do that. Nintendo needs to tell us what's going to happen the next couple of months, because they have got a lot of hanging threads out there that I think we have a lot of good momentum moving into 2019. And 2019 is a huge year for Nintendo. 2018 was not as big of a year for their own first parties, but 2019 is shaping up to be a huge first party year. They need to start telling us that story of what that is. There's a lot of things. Again, where's Animal Crossing landing? Is Bayonetta 3 in 2019? Where's Metroid? Luigi's Mansion. So we have, you've got other games like Daemon X Machina. You've got a mobile Mario Kart Mobile that might be potentially coming, or should be coming out in March, right? There's a lot of hanging threads out there. Is there a Metroid trilogy? Where's Labo landing? There's a lot of information Nintendo needs to be telling us in January. So expect a fair bit, but only expect so much. They never do. Here's what you're going to see in 2020. They'll give us probably the first 3 months with a little bit of a look to the 6. So.
No, and I also think that people need to temper their expectations. When this comes around, there's probably not going to be a Metroid Trilogy HD. There's probably not going to even be any Metroid there, because they'll save for E3. The January Directs, they need to start off the year, but they need to tell you what's coming up immediately, because at the moment, we don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So just keep expectations in check.
Do keep expectations in check for sure. Let's move into another question we have here. Bear with me 1 second. Questions. I have a couple of questions. Here we go. Question. Benjamin asks. Thank you. I like that. Actually, Jesse, while I'm grabbing this information, can you grab information about the Nintendo Dads tournament in a couple of moments? We want to promote that, obviously. Benjamin asks,
yes.
Hey, Dads. In episode 208, one of the questions you discussed was where Smash goes after Ultimate, and Marty brought up the idea of Mario Kart during the discussion as an evergreen title, which has surprisingly never had paid DLC on the Switch. This got me thinking about a potential new Mario Kart title, Mario Kart Ultimate, taking the Smash Ultimate approach. All drivers and all tracks from previous games, plus new content, and fingers crossed, legitimate and engaging first-player mode. What do you think the odds are of Nintendo taking this approach with the next Mario Kart? Second question, what other Nintendo franchise would you like to see get the ultimate treatment? Fantastic work. Thank you very much from Ben from Australia. Well, good day, Ben. That's my Australian accent. I apologize if that was offensive in any way. I like this idea. I like this idea of Mario Kart Ultimate as kind of an evergreen franchise. What do you guys think?
It's going to bring back all tracks and all racers. Just like
yeah, you could I kind of like that idea.
17 different versions of Rainbow Road.
Because you'd HDify everything, right? You bring it up. I do like that, and kind of being more as a service. And I wonder, maybe that's possible, right? They know Mario Kart sells. You could sell it as a service, much like you would Smash. You have DLC that comes out. I think that's an interesting thing. And it's a very interesting, again, thread hanging out there of what does Nintendo actually do with Mario Kart as a franchise, right? We know it. What is it like? Is it the Jesse? Is it the number one seller, Mario Kart on the Switch, or is it it's in the top 3, isn't it? It's Odyssey, Mario Kart, and Zelda, I think. And again, you're porting a game that came out 6 years ago almost. It'll be interesting to see, and I'm really interested, Ben, to see what Nintendo does with this Mario Kart Mobile Tour game, whatever it is, because I think that may indicate what they're going to be doing with the franchise going forward.
Tim says Diddy Kong Cross Mario Kart Ultimate.
Yeah, there you go. I love that idea. That'd be very cool. That would be very cool. That actually, I think that would Yeah, plus the DLC and I like the single player motion there too. That's great. Now you've got my brain stem in there or stew in there, Ben. I like that. What other Nintendo franchise would you like to see get the ultimate treatment? Gary, what do you think? Another franchise get the ultimate treatment?
It's a tough one because in the case of Mario Kart, I actually think an ultimate wouldn't be the best option for it. The reason is because with Smash Brothers, it's quite easy. They can change the mechanics of all the characters. They could change the gravity if they wanted to, and it wouldn't change a thing. They could still use every single level and all the characters and all sorts. With the racing game, it's a little bit different. I think that Mario Kart, the way that it's been doing it for a long time now, with the retro cups and the new cups, is the way that it probably should carry on. And then we've got the DLC where you get a few more old tracks in as well. So in a way, Mario Kart's already kind of doing a half-step ultimate anyway. But in terms of other games, I really don't know. I mean, is not many games that have that sort of collection factor. Probably a Street Fighter 2 Ultimate, so they can finally stop making ridiculous named Street Fighter 2s and just have one definitive version.
I agree. I like that.
That's probably the one.
Yeah. I think the one I always hear mentioned, actually, Ben, in kind of the same context, is like a Zelda Ultimate Edition. And what I mean by that is like bundling all of them together. And I don't think that's the exact same thing, but I think like Smash and Mario Kart, these kind of competitive based games like that are great for these compilation ultimate editions. I don't know. Okay, and Jesse, any of them pop out in your mind?
No, I'm blank.
No,
I've actually got one. Mario Party Ultimate.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be really good actually. Mario Party Edition. I like that. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a very good one.
They attempted to with the top 100, but
right.
They need to do like some sort of greatest hits of Mario Party, I believe. There's a lot of old games that people love and the old boards, so why not? Why not instead of taking the time to develop boards where they only did 4 in the newest version? That was one of people's biggest complaints.
Yeah.
Just use the old ones; it's fine.
Yeah, repurpose them a bit. I like that. That's a great idea. That's a great idea, Gary.
Ultimate Zelda Maker.
Ultimate Zelda Maker. Man, that would be something. Jesse, can you talk to us about the Nintendo Dads tournament happening over on patreon.com/Nintendo Dads in our Discord? What's going on there?
Yeah, so I'm blanking on who's setting this up. I'm sorry, but
Drew is.
Drew, thank you. So he set up this. He's been setting up these tournaments that's kind of changing up every 3 or 4 weeks. He says season 1 started in October, ends at the end of the year. So this is the last tournament for the year, which is the Nintendo Dads Ultimate Tournament. So there's a list of 15-ish games, and a task to do in the game. If you complete it and send proof either in a video clip or a photo, and then you'll get points for it, and then whoever gets the most points gets more bonus points at the end of the year, and then they all get added up with the previous points from the previous games in the season. And I don't know if it's bragging rights or what else is happening. So some of the examples here are score 85 or better in the U.S. courts in NES Open. Get 3 stars on Leaf Cup 150cc's in Mario Kart 8. I'm like, I can't even play 150cc's, much less get 3 stars, so forget that one. Ghosts and Goblins beat World 1. I can't beat the Red Demon, so...
You're just a sucky video game player.
I am. And it gets worse, and these are things that I used to be able to do, but I tried and wasn't able to do it, so I'm really rusty. Just beat original Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
I got stuck on 8-1.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Fortnite finish in the top 10. Paladins get a 5+ kill streak. Take a selfie of playing Smash Brothers Ultimate and post it in Discord. That's
nice.
That's for 1 coin. So you don't even have to do anything. You just have to be playing it.
Yeah, Drew's been doing a fantastic job. And again, if you are part of our Patreon.com, if you're a patron, you have access to this. And Drew has been running these amazing tournaments. And we're going to work with Drew, and we're going to make sure that the winner of season 1 gets some kind of prize, whether it's some Nintendo Dad swag or an eShop gift card. So if you are not already participating, guys, go over. Get into this tournament. Do these again. You can do them with families. You can do them as fun events, right? Just it's a bit of fun. It's a bit of crack. Having a good time. So guys, jump in and do that. Again, thank you so much to Drew who organized that. It really is our community that makes Nintendo Dads run. Like legitimately, we're just a couple mouthpieces that talk every week. But the heart and soul of our community is the people like Drew and Tim and all the members who contribute every single day to actually make this thing go. And so if you have some time, I know it's super busy, take some time, participate with Drew and the stuff he's been doing.
Yeah, the 2 of them that I did and it's already submitted, though he's having problems with the file that I sent him, is scoring 28,000 in Balloon Fight in the first 3 levels and the bonus level, and beat Dungeon 1 with full hearts in the original Legend of Zelda.
Wow.
I think using the SP mode's cheating.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
And the one that I haven't done yet because I forgot about, but I can easily do, is beat level 3 in Dr. Mario.
Lovely. Lovely. All right, folks. Well, thank you very much for grabbing that for us, Jesse. Now, just before we actually head out, I want to bring a couple things to attention. Ladies and gentlemen, it is near the end of 2018. Next week on December 20th, that will be our last show of 2018. We are going to, as we always do, take a week off at Christmas and our holidays and spend it with our family. So we greatly appreciate that. So next week, ladies and gentlemen, will be our Game of the Year for 2018 conversation. This is usually a fantastic conversation, a good debate. It's a little bit of a longer episode, but we're all going to come together, bring together what we believe is the best games of 2018. And get onto that. Then we're going to be back, ladies and gentlemen, on January 3rd for our first episode of 2019. And this is where we do the 2019 predictions. And we also look back at our predictions for 2018 and who is the right and who is the wrong. We did this last year. Jesse, I think you are currently the king of this. I think you own the crown.
I think so.
I think so. So it's going to be some great content in the next couple of weeks, guys. So obviously, stay tuned. We've got more content coming up on our YouTube channel as well. Jesse's got some videos going up for Pokemon Let's Go, or sorry, Pokemon Go. There's a ton of content there. Make sure you check it out. All right, folks, we are going to be rounding this out. So again, big thank you to our Patreon producers, our executive Patreon producers, of course, Dave Ernsberg, Timothy Alf, and Chris Mears. Thank you guys so much. We greatly appreciate it. Of course, if you want to support us on Patreon, head over to patreon.com/Nintendo Dads for as little as $1 a month. We greatly appreciate everything. Now, you're like, hey, Nintendo Dads, where can I follow you on social media? Good news. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all at Nintendo Dads. And of course, if you want to email us, you can email us over at nintendodads@gmail.com. We are on Twitch, so you can subscribe to us on Twitch and, of course, on YouTube, which, again, we are putting up content every single day almost on our YouTube channel. Go over and hit that like button, subscribe button. We greatly appreciate it. And make sure you check out our 2019 Nintendo release calendar predictions. You're going to love it, I hope. Tell me what? Tell me why I'm wrong. You want to send in a voicemail? Call us at 929-25-NDADS or 929-256-3237. Big thanks to OC Remix, which is the music you hear throughout the day. And if you want some sweet Nintendo Dads merch, head over to tiny.cc/Nintendo Dads store, where you can be wearing an amazing shirt just like the one that I am today, which you can't see because my webcam's not working. And of course, if you could, head over to download the podcast at iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and check us out on VG Tribune. While you're there, if you can, give us a 5-star rating. I'll even take a 4-star rating. Anything lower than that, go home. I don't want to hear from you. And ladies and gentlemen, for myself, for Jesse, for Gary, and for the absent Marty and Zach, who I presume just disappeared in the wilderness, thanks very much for watching Nintendo Dads. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Euro Boys, and the Jesse, Euro Boys.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
Please understand